Hours. I don't know if I can go to that. All right, how's it going, everyone? This is the premiere episode for Bodyguards United presents the Autopsy with Dave Boddy. Our first guest is none other than Rebecca Parkin, all the way from Sheffield, England, which is
Hi.
7 hours ahead of Canadian time, which is crazy. I got to do this interview at 8 o'clock in the morning, but I'm here. I'm ready to go. I'm going to give a brief introduction to how I met Rebecca. It was via a share of her story on Facebook on my news feed. Being Bodyguards United is a huge ambassador towards anti-bullying and depression and suicide. I immediately was intrigued by her story, so I started to read it. Upon completion, I immediately contacted her via Facebook Messenger, which probably caught her off guard because I'm very approachable. I like to talk to people and contact them. So immediately I contacted her. We discussed. I informed her of what Bodyguards United does and what our organization is all about. I informed her of the autopsy with Dave Boddy, all the other features, and she thankfully said yes. And we're here today to help her spread her story to the North American side of the world, because she's doing a lot of work in the, I guess you could say, UK side, and she's going to Poland tomorrow, and she's very excited about that. Not nervous, very excited. Let's reaffirm that. So I'm going to pass it over to Rebecca now, and she can carry on wherever she wants to start, or I can ask a question. It's entirely up to you. How did this all start?
How did the
Like, the bullying? Yeah, when did you first experience? How was it?
Well, when I was about 6 years old, I was really, different from everyone else at school, and people was like, they noticed at a very young age, and my parents noticed, and I actually got my autism diagnosis at 7 years old because everyone knew that I was different. Everyone knew that I was a bit, not normal. And when you're at school, and you're not normal, you get bullied. You get people saying mean things about you because you're scared of what they don't really know. You get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it developed gradually, and it got worse and worse as it went on, and it became less verbal, but it became physical as well, and people would throw food and water at me, and there was a time when I was 11 years old that people tried to set my hair on fire. Like, a group of 16, 17-year-olds chased me to my friend's house, and it was scary. I didn't know what to do, and how can an 11-year-old deal with that? I was only young, and I didn't understand why people would be mean to me, why I was different, and it gradually got worse, and a girl actually took to Facebook one time, and she said that she was going to beat me up, and it was hard, and I had took screenshots of what she had said and what she put online and took it to school, and they did absolutely nothing. I was scared of being in school, so my parents pulled me out of school that day because they didn't want me to be scared of being at school. And so I was pulled out, and that was actually the last day of half term. And when I went back to school, the first day after half term, the girl actually beat me up, as she said online. And what was scary was that other people were behind her beating me up. Like, they were all commenting things like, make sure I'm there, and I want to see. And she was not a very nice person. She said, don't worry, you'll see blood. And I was 13. It's just ridiculous, to be honest. Also, a group of girls in my year, I was in year 8, which was about when I was about 13, 14. And the teacher said there was a knife missing from class, and bullies that bullied me said that I had stole it to go and stab one of them, which wasn't the case. You know, I would never steal anything, let alone a knife, from classroom. And you know, the teacher contacted the police and told them that I had stolen a knife. I got police searched, and I had literally not stole anything. And the teacher had actually miscounted. It was still in class, and I got accused of stealing a knife. And I actually had to go to a knife and guns crime awareness presentation, which, you know, why should I have had to go to that when I did nothing in the first place?
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. And when I actually moved schools, which was very hard to start with because my parents appeals after appeals to get me to move schools because the school I wanted to go was already full, like there was no places left, and the only reason I actually move schools was because my sister was going into the school, and you know, they let brothers and sisters go into schools if, you know, there's someone else that's a relation to them in the school, even if it's full. But the bullies still followed me, like they'd text me and they'd call me, and I remember when I was in year 9 when I was about 14, and I was getting calls with people saying, "Oh, you're a bitch," and then hanging the phone up, and then calling it, "Oh, you're fat and you're stupid," and then hanging the phone up. And I had to change my phone number because I didn't want that. I didn't want it to follow me. You know, I wanted to leave it all behind and just move on. And I also made a YouTube account the same year, and to focus on, you know, something more positive. And I used to do some singing and stuff like that, just, you know, because it was something I liked to do. And I got trolled, and there were people from my old school, and someone actually made a fake account because my name was the real Rebecca Parkin on YouTube, and they made an account called the fake Rebecca Parkin, and they used the account to hate on me and post nasty comments, you know. And it's just ridiculous how they had, you know, how they had to go out of their way to try and make me feel bad. Like, can't they live their own life and just leave me alone, you know? Because, yeah, I didn't do anything to them, and, you know, I'm here today talking to you and on the news. It's just crazy.
So what you've done is you've taken your negative and helped build it to a positive. Because from what I understand, currently you're working a lot with youth, and you're a media ambassador as well as a speaker, and you've been published in news broadcasts via paper as well as you've done interviews. So how is everything going for you right now?
Everything is actually doing really well, you know. I sometimes get called the odd name, but like it doesn't bother me anymore like it used to, because, you know, I know I'm doing better things now. You know, back then I was like very vulnerable and I didn't know what to do, and I didn't feel like I could talk to anybody. But now I know who I can talk to, and, you know, if anything was to happen, you know, my current school deals with it, you know. And, you know, I feel that I've developed a lot, and, you know, as you grow older, you learn to just not worry about what people have to think about you, and it's a very hard thing to realise. You know, a lot of young girls my age, you know, even now, wouldn't be able to just shrug it off, but I can, because, you know, I'm doing more positive things. You know, I've been to London like 5 times in the past year, and like they're not, you know, that's crazy. You know, I'm going to Poland, you know, and not many
That is
young
great.
people have that opportunity.
So like I said in the beginning, I came across your story via the news feed from a friend of mine who's also in the UK. And I wanted to ask how that came to be, how you got the courage to actually share your story, knowing that you were constantly a victim of being bullied online. What made you change your mindset?
Well, I actually saw Demi Lovato. She was doing a lot of public speaking about bullying, and I felt like she'd inspired me. And I thought, if I could do what she did for me to other people, that would be amazing. And just having, you know, so many young people look to me and think, if she got through it, then I can too. And if she's speaking out, then I should speak out too. And there's a lot of people that have come back to me and said that I've inspired them or I've helped them to speak out, and that's just incredible. Nothing could ever compare to that.
Okay, so basically, you just shared it one night on your computer. Did you expect it to go as viral as it did? I believe yesterday you said you had 500 shares or 500 likes. I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah. Well, the story overall has reached over 1 million people, so that is incredible. And just in my local area, there was this Sheffield online forum that shared my story, and like over 500 people had liked it. It had reached over 15,000 people just in Sheffield, in my area, and that was just crazy.
So you went from an individual who was, I guess it's safe to say you're pretty shy growing up in your younger years. You're pretty isolated, pretty shy, pretty alone. And now look at you. Now you're like attending to speak at events. Like you went from being in the darkness to now being in the lightness, or the lightness. Wow, the light. and you're like doing amazing things, but yet for the last couple of years you've been told you're worthless. So how does it feel to actually say to the bullies, you know what? You're spending all this time being negative towards me, and all you're basically doing is motivating me to accomplish a lot more. And hopefully, in retrospect, you can inspire your bullies to actually smarten up and actually realize that what they're doing is not accomplishing anything on both ends.
Yeah, because like the bullies, I feel like people that bully in others are very insecure themselves and they don't know what to do, so they bully and they victimize people that seem to be weaker people. And I was very vulnerable when I was younger. I was very scared, and I didn't want to speak to anyone. I was like anyone says hi to me and I did not reply. I did not like socialize with any single person at all. That was just me. And so people knew that I wouldn't speak to people, so they bullied me because they think I wouldn't do anything back, and I didn't, and I'm here today, and that's just crazy.
So, with that being said, did you ever come face to face with severe depression and potentially suicide?
I don't ever think that I was ever suicidal, but I did feel depressed. If you're going to school and you're faced by bullies and negativity and just hate, then you're gonna feel depressed. You're gonna feel worthless and you're gonna feel stupid as well. But you've got to get past that, and that's what I did. I was able to focus on something more positive, and I surround myself with positive people. And on my Facebook, like, I deleted everyone off from my school because I didn't want negativity. I didn't want drama. I didn't want to see what people were saying about other people. I didn't want to get involved with it. And so I just surround myself by positive people and people that are making a change in the world. And that's why I've got you on Facebook.
Well, thank you for that. I can relate to some of the stuff that you've been saying. Like my story went, I was very angry. I wasn't more depressed. I was actually a lot more angry towards my bullies. Now, when you said that you found music, how did you find that to be an outlet or a platform to assist you?
Well, when I was, I've always loved singing. I've been singing since I was really young. Like, my parents said that I was singing before I was even talking, and it's like therapeutic to listen to music. And I actually listened to Dave Boddy's music because she got bullied, and she releases music that talks about that and inspires other people. And one of the first songs that I was listening to when I was 11 years old, when I was getting bullied, was "This Is Me," and it's just like, she went from being this bullied teenager to being a pop star. It's just crazy. And I went through life listening to music and listening to Dave Boddy mostly, and she released more music like Believe in Me, which is about people loving who they are. And to start with, they don't love who they are, and by the end of it they do, and they believe in themselves. And that's really why I listen to music, because it's got such an amazing message and it's very powerful.
Wow. So in retrospect to your music and passion, have you done anything in regards to besides YouTube, like competition-wise or anything?
I've done a few competitions. I actually sung at my old school just before I left the school. It was kind of like I felt that was my way to say to the bullies, look, you've done this to me, but I'm here on the stage tonight and I'm going to put on a show, and you can watch and you can say whatever you want, but I'm on stage and this is my moment. So that was the biggest moment for me, singing publicly. But I have done other talent competitions and performances as well.
Have you ever considered popular auditions for like Britain's Got Talent and The Voice, etc.?
I've applied for The Voice this year, actually.
Oh wow, good for you.
I'll get an audition. But I did actually attend a Britain's Got Talent audition in 2010, but I was like very shy and I was like crazy with like anxiety. I was shaking and I was freaking out, but I still, I gave it my best shot, and I didn't get anywhere with it because I was so insecure, and they didn't want to put an insecure person on stage because it's not very good for viewers to watch,
Mm-hmm. So you're saying that 4 years ago at that time you were still going through a lot of aggressive bullying, so that would contribute to your insecurity and your. Now, would you consider doing it again currently?
I actually tried to do X Factor, but it's way too far. So I've applied for The Voice. Once I've done my exams, I'll audition for The Voice.
Well, I'm very proud of you. What you've done is you've used your internal passion of music and singing to showcase to the bullies that no matter what, you're always going to persevere and basically just do you. If you want to say it that way, you're just going to do you and be happy while doing it. And I do need to ask, growing up, it sounds like you and your parents and your family are very, very, very close. So were they very supportive for you growing up as in respect to bullying and depression?
Our parents were very supportive. Like, I argue with them like crazy, but like they was always there for supporting me, and they were the ones that stuck by me. When I was upset, when I was depressed. My mum used to come into school every single day when I was crying, because I was literally crying when I was like in primary school, and she was there. Anytime I was upset, she was there instantly, and they was always very supportive. And my parents both always went to the appeals to get me to move schools, and they've always been able to help me and talk to me. And if things aren't okay, they'll put me to the side and they'll talk to me about it, because it's great.
I'm very happy to hear that, because unfortunately some youths who are experiencing bullying don't have the family outlet to go to. So that's why I believe you strongly emphasize on passion and focus and basically being who you want to become and striving for what you want to go for. Now growing up, how did you deal with the diagnosis of autism as well as the bullying? I'm assuming that was a lot of mental pressure on you, a lot of confusion and a lot of misunderstanding. So how did you go around all that?
Well, I didn't know what it was to start with. I just thought, I don't really care, it's nothing to do with me. But like, I grew up and I realised what it was, and I personally, I didn't really care that I had it. I just tried to persevere and fit in, and that was a big mistake. I shouldn't have ever tried to fit in because I wasn't supposed to. And And so I developed and I grew up and I learned what it was, and then I decided that, I've got this far in life, and, I want to help other people that are going through autism but they haven't reached self-acceptance because, they hate the autism or they strongly dislike it. I went onto a website the other day and there were some parents that said they hated the child. Well, they didn't hate the child, but they hated autism in the child, which was just crazy. Like, I didn't hate the autism. Autism is great. It gives you passion, it gives you drive, and yeah, you might is socializing, but I'm talking today, and that's good enough for me. I'm not as scared as I used to be in crowds, and loud music either. But it's just being able to deal with that in society, which a lot of young people can't. So that's what my mission is, to help other people with autism, and I'm actually working with my autism support worker in school to talk to young people with autism, but also educate everyone else in school what autism is. Like, the young people in school don't know what it is, and so they victimise people with autism. So I'm taking it on as my responsibility to teach the younger generation instead of just the teachers, because what teachers are, no one talks to teachers, but just the young people, because they really need to know.
So what you're trying to say is that you feel you're victimized because they just don't understand what autism is?
Mhm. Yeah.
And right now your mission is just to educate and to inform individuals exactly what autism does and the side effects and how it really affects the individual who suffers from it. That's mighty impressive. Because unfortunately, I know a lot of people who have autism as well, and I understand what they go through on a daily basis at school. So it's good to know that the kids have a resource that they can actually fall upon and help other individuals understand exactly what it is and to go forward with dealing with it. And with that being said, how was the teachers in the schools? Like, were they very supportive with you with bullying? Did they try to help out? Now, I understand the story with the knife situation. Clearly is an example of how they don't support you. But was there times that teachers were actually very supportive and understanding?
Yeah, actually, I had one autism support worker at my old school. She actually helped me out a ton, and like, she was very helpful. And anytime I had a problem, I always went to her. But she couldn't do anything about the bullying because that's what my head of year had to deal with. And he wasn't as supportive. He didn't always go out of his way to deal with it, and that was very hard.
Wow. So there was a lot of support you had with the faculty members. Now, when you were growing up, did you have a chance or opportunity to make some really close friends to help you go through all this?
When I was growing up, I didn't really have any friends, but right now I have a lot of friends that support me in the work I do. And there's people from like America, there's people from Australia, there's people from all over the world that support me, and that's crazy. I might not have friends, like really close friends that support me here today where I live. I have people all over the world, which is just, it's better, really, because you're just reaching a wider audience.
Well, exactly. And the reason why I think your story went viral so fast is it's a very personal story that people can associate with. Unfortunately, the epidemic of bullying is taking over worldwide. Statistics have said that we're losing every 40 seconds someone in their life via bullying, depression, but suicide rates are going skyrocketing, and that's why Bodyguards United was very happy to reach out to you, because that's what we're trying to do here in North America. We also have a lot of support here in Greece and Malaysia and Ireland and Russia. So when you have the support group coming together, such as yourself and Bodyguard, it's an amazing experience because it allows individuals worldwide, specifically youth, to understand, okay, there actually is positivity online with Facebook and Twitter and numerous other social networks. Are you very happy with your success you've had via social network, considering how you used to be very shy, like in 2010? Like, is it very surreal to you some days when you wake up and you realize, holy cow, just 4 years ago I was so nervous, I was isolated, I was very alone, but now you realize that since you spoke up and shared your story, you have an overwhelming response. Over 1 million people have read your story. But the best part here is I feel that not only did they read your story, but they were inspired by it. So with that being told, how do you feel now compared to how you felt 4 years ago, 3 years ago?
It's just incredible. Like, I remember waking up on Wednesday night when I knew the press release was going to be out there, and like the BBC like the interview was going to be out there as well. And I just remember I didn't sleep that night. I was just so excited. I was like, this could be big, and it was. And I was just, it was unbelievable. And like, I didn't sleep the night after because I was just like so overwhelmed. I was just reading all the comments and seeing how much support there was, and I was crying. I was just like freaking out because for me, back when I was getting bullied, there was no one there for me. But now, I'm speaking out. There's loads of people, and that's unbelievable.
What's I gotta tell you on Facebook every single day? I'm very proud because I'm constantly reaching out to youth. I do a lot of youth mentorship and a lot of youth coaching, and I'm 28 years old. So it's very nice to see someone who's roughly 10 years, almost 11 years younger than me, accomplishing the same that I'm accomplishing. It makes you realize that there are youth out there who are younger, who want to help, conquer bullying and defeat it, and help individuals who are going through it. So that's why I always say I'm proud of you, because you're doing this 11 years earlier than I was able to do it. And that reassures me, as well as viewers around the world, that there are going to be individuals in the schools that want to help. But the only issues that we're having nowadays is find that they're more attacked as opposed to staying silent. But what they forget to realize is that as long as you are silent, not only is your voice being smothered, but other people's voices are smothered along with it. And that's why it's very important. I always tell people you've got to speak up, even if it's via text message, basic message, email, or such, a video interview, or my radio interview that's coming up. They've been pretty quick. It doesn't matter to me how you speak up, just as long as you do it. For example, your story, you were very quiet. And that one moment you took and you said, you know what, I'm done, I'm going to speak up. Look what happened. You're now becoming a sensation worldwide. You're becoming what I call a good celebrity, which is someone that is recognized for how they're supporting their community and their youth. So, you're becoming a celebrity. That is basically from the same story that upset you and depressed you and hurt you. So it's amazing to see how people struggle, but when you don't quit, you get success a lot faster. And that's why when I help with suicide and depression, unfortunately, I went through depression for 16 years, and I was suicidal 3 times, in grade 9, 2006, and then 2011. But yet here I am, being able to interview you, and I have more interviews coming up, which it's funny how I have an interview tomorrow from Sheffield. It's like you guys are like sprouting. Like you guys all want to speak up, and I've noticed that the interview I have tomorrow, she's also very young. She's under age 20. And I've noticed that since I started Boddyguards, I started speaking my story and sharing my story out there, it's been getting a lot of response, mainly from youth. And I've noticed that the youth that read your story and follow you on Twitter and follow your social networking are the ones that need the help the most. So what you realize is what you're doing here is you're sharing your negative, but in essence you're also sharing your positive, because the best way to heal, I find, is to help others heal too. It's like the best way to learn is to teach. And what you're doing is being exact testament to that mentality of, you know what, I'm going to heal, but at the same time you heal a couple people, which eventually turns to dozens, which eventually turns to 100, and now has turned to thousands. But guess what? In the last week, it's turned to 1 million. And that's why I always tell people you have to speak up, because as long as you're silent, you don't know how far you can actually go in your passion and your dream. And with that being said, you're pursuing it very aggressively to the point that when, like I said, when you're typing, you're extremely aggressive. Like you're dominant. Like you want people to know what you have to say, and I love that. And with that being said, what is coming up for you tomorrow? Like, why exactly are you going to Poland? I understand that people will want to know this. So that's what I'm asking. What exactly do you do in Poland tomorrow?
Well, I work with Roswell Youth Cabinet, and we're going over there for some anti-fascism work. So we're going to be touring, the concentration camps. We're going to be doing some work over there as well, which is really exciting. And yeah, I'm going with some of my good friends, so it's going to be a good time.
Wow. So you look forward to these speaking engagements, and basically, you're basically traveling to amazing places to share your story. I'm guessing, right? Like you speak of your story, what you went through, because that way you get the emotional attachment from individuals that when they know more about you, they become more supportive. And so when you go to Poland, what exactly do you guys do?
We're going to be we're doing some work over there with like anti-fascism, like discrimination against the Jewish people, and we're going to be touring the camps, going down the salt mines, and just seeing what life was like, and just being able to experience it, and just it's just going to give us like culture change, and we're going to be able to see what people went through, because it's depressing what people went through because of some guy that wanted to rule the world.
Which is ironic because deep down inside, everyone wants to rule the world, but they have different perceptions of what that means. And I feel that you and I feel the same perception where we don't want to rule the world, we want to affect positive change on the world. So would that be safe to say that that's your guys' mission is to affect positive change worldwide? And we are discussing how to bring you to Canada. Like I said, I'm going to help you. I'm going to share your story via media contacts I have here in Calgary. But I'm going to also spread it out to northern Canada, the eastern. Like I'm going to get up as much as I can in the States. Because sadly, you're getting amazing response in your area and your state. We also need your story to be shared here in North America and Mexico and wherever we can. We'll get it out there because I feel it's very important that you know that there's no boundaries, there's no borders. You can simply talk to someone that's living in Texas, just like I can talk to someone living in Russia. That's the good news of social networking. The bad news of social networking is how vulnerable people are online. I personally don't have much experience with cyberbullying. However, you do, which is, it's sad, it's terrible. The good news with you being a victim of that is now you have the understanding of how. With that being said, what would be some of the advice for individuals who are currently dealing with cyberbullying?
Delete everyone, block everyone, and just keep your private life to yourself, and don't let anyone onto your accounts that aren't very nice people, or from your school that you see have bullied other people, because they could easily come and bully you as well, and you don't want that. You want to stay away from it because it's just not worth it.
I completely agree. Now, in the event that a threat, your safety is issued via online, what do you suggest? How people should deal with that? Should they take a copy of the screenshot? Should they inform Facebook management? Should they inform parental figures? What should they do to respond to that kind of event?
It's very difficult because when I print screened it and I took it in school, they did absolutely nothing. So I wouldn't recommend that, but I would recommend telling the teacher at school what's happening. But also, talking to people about what's happening, like tell your parents, if it's serious enough, the police, because they can possibly do something about it. Definitely contact Facebook, definitely contact YouTube or Twitter or whatever you use, and just make sure people know what's happening, because don't keep it to yourself, because that's the worst thing you can ever do.
Exactly, because if you don't share it, people don't understand that's actually happening. Have you seen the photo that's been going viral of a student who took a picture of herself as a teen put it
Yeah.
online, and then she received all the comments, and then she stated that she was doing it as a project. How did you feel when you saw
You go, girl.
that?
Yeah. I think what she did was really great, to be honest, because it just shows you that people are really awful and just mean, and there's just so many hateful people in the world. We just need to change that.
I remember when I first came across cyberbullying, I didn't realize, because when I was bullied, we didn't have social network. The most dangerous times I had growing up was walking home, lunch hour, recess. But when I got home, I was isolated. I was alone, away from it. Nowadays, though, with Twitter and Facebook, and I don't know if people still use it, but Nextopia. Like, there's a lot of social networks, MySpace, and even YouTube. When I first realized cyberbullying was actively growing, was off of YouTube. I'd watch some of my favorite songs, and the comments were just atrocious, and how quickly the conversation would go from the song or the movie to racism, to sexism, to discrimination, and then lead into bullying. Now, I will say on that picture that we spoke of, I saw an individual shared a picture of a noose, which was simplified commit suicide. How do you feel youth can best react to something that drastic and that serious to the event that they're being told to go kill themselves? Like, that's a very direct and a very powerful statement. Like, when I got told, Dave, you're worthless, you should kill yourself, at the age of 11 to 16, you're very impressionable. You're very vulnerable. You take words very seriously, as you personally have said that you've dealt with. Now, how did you deal with the name calling, and where did you find that positive mindset within you?
Well, I looked at it from a different perspective, and people call me fat and ugly, and I knew that I start with I started believing it, but then I realised that maybe they talk about themselves, maybe they feel insecure about their weight, or maybe they don't like what they look like, and they want to turn it round on other people to make other people feel bad, so it makes themselves feel better. And I know that I changed my perspective, because that's it's the best thing you can do. And bullies bully because they're insecure.
I agree. Have you, throughout your experience, did you ever once become a bully?
I don't think I ever became a bully. I spoke back. I said, look, this isn't okay. What you're doing isn't fine, and it's not. And when people bullied me, I went and told a teacher, and it it was just awful. And I never bullied anyone, and I'm here today. I didn't speak back. Like, I didn't say, oh, you're fat as well, or you're ugly and all. And I'm here today. It's just
So it's amazing, because when I'm talking to you, we have different, like, we're on opposite ends of a spectrum. Myself, when I was going through the bullying, I didn't speak back. However, I held it all in, and I realized later on, after the incident, that was not a smart idea. It was to hold it all in. You said that you spoke to your family, your teachers. I didn't speak to anyone. Actually, there's a little factoid here for you. My family, or none of my friends, knew about my life until about a year and a half ago. That's when I finally shared everything and caught my family completely off, by surprise. They didn't understand what I was going through. So that's why I say I've learned that you have to speak up right away. Because I held that anger in, and then when my best friend committed suicide in 2004, I realized I had a lot of anger issues, and I just let go. I started getting more physical applications, started getting more verbal. So it's interesting to see how you survived doing the opposite of what I did. That makes me realize that to deal with bullying is very personal. You got to find your own way to deal with it. But the number one way that's the most safest. So when you did speak up, how were your families receptive to it? Like were they surprised? Did they already know you were being bullied but didn't know how to respond to it?
my parents always knew that I was getting bullied, because the school would always call my mum because I'd run out of class because I just couldn't deal with it, so I just left. And when I spoke out, like, everyone was coming to my parents saying, you know, you must be so proud of her, and it was like, yeah, we really are, and they are. They're really supportive, and they're really, you know, they're really happy that I spoke out and helped so many people as well, so.
Well, that's great. I'm very proud of that. However, is it safe to assume that you dealt with this all on your own? Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, I dealt with it all alone, but it got to a point where I did tell my parents, like, I didn't tell my parents to start with, the school did, because, like, I was always running away and crying and just, I was going crazy. But, yeah, there was a point where I just was like, Mum, I need you to help me. And so they did.
Now, looking back from 2014 now to 2010, is there any regrets that you have with how you handle bullying? Would you do anything different, or are you confident in the right thing?
Happy how I dealt with it, you know. I'm just grateful that I'm still here, you know, because there's a lot of people that, you know, don't, and they, you know, they get really depressed and they commit suicide. Like Amanda Todd, you know, that story, I was like sobbing that it's just really depressing, because just knowing that people feel so, like, sad about themselves and just hate themselves that much because of what people have said about them and what people are saying to them. It's just unbelievable.
Well, it's like I always say that there's 7 billion people on Earth, so realistically, no one should be left alone. There should always be someone, have someone to help them. And I understand that you've taken that role at such a young age. As soon as you responded to that and you accepted that, you start to realize things have changed for you. I'm a firm believer that you get what you give. So I understand that you're getting all your success, you're getting all of your dreams through, but at the same time, that's because you honestly deserve it. I feel that you've done the right thing, because like you said, you're still here in front of me, we're talking. Other individuals sadly are not. Now, have you had any emails or messages from individuals who are contemplating suicide or asked for help?
I actually made friends with a girl about a year ago, and I was already speaking out about bullying and stuff like that, and she did come to me because she was suicidal, and I had a few other friends that was helping me to speak about bullying, and they supported me. This girl from Colorado helped me when my friend emailed me to say she was suicidal and she wanted some help, and I was directing her to Childline, which is a UK charity that's like provides free counselling to young people. And my friend from Colorado, she was also supporting me into talking to my friend and getting her to feel better about herself and getting her to feel less suicidal, because life is such a great thing, and you know, now she's finishing her A levels and she's getting pretty far and she's doing really well.
That's what I like to hear. I've been receiving a lot of emails. Like, as soon as I mentioned my experience with depression and suicide, I was getting messages like crazy. Like, it was overwhelming with how many emails. Like, just last night, I got invited to a conversation to talk to a who was going through it. And I had to stop and think to myself, like, social media is honestly one of the best things we have in our world right now, because you don't need to talk face to face with someone no more. I had a youth I talked to for the last 2 months via Facebook that constantly thanks me because I saved his life, and I said, no, I didn't save your life. I just made you realize why your life is important and how there's no do-overs, there's no mulligans once you leave. So with that being said, it's amazing how social networking is constantly put in that bad light, but we're also helping them realize, no, social network is an amazing feature, an amazing tool to allow you to speak firsthand with individuals around the world if you use it correctly. But when social media was introduced, was your family a little bit skeptical and a little bit worried about you joining Facebook and Twitter?
Well, my dad knew I really loved singing, and he was like, "Why don't you make a YouTube?" And I was like, "I don't know." And then I was like, "I might as well, there's no to lose." And so I did, and I did get some hate from people from school, but I deleted it. I got rid of every mean message and hate message because I didn't like it. And there was a time when I made a music video to Deliver Skyscraper, and I got a lot of hate on that video, and I actually deleted the video because it was just doing my head in. Like, I just couldn't deal with it. I just walked away. I deleted the account, and I made a new account, and that's the account I'm using today, and I've just not looked back.
Wow. So was your music video comparable to Rebecca Black's music video for Friday? Like, did you get that much hate and that many comments? Like, was it that?
I had a couple hundred from people from my old school, and it was hard. Like, people were commenting the same things and the same mean things, and I just I'm not having any of this. I'm just walking away. I'm just going to leave it. I'm just going to delete it. And I regret deleting it because, it was one of my videos. It's something I created and spent a lot of time doing, but, life goes on and you just have to accept it.
Are you working on any upcoming videos to release on your YouTube channel, I guess, sorry?
Well, I do occasional videos. I've not actually posted a proper video in a while, so today I've just been filming in a music video, upload and edit soon, so.
Okay, so would it be safe to assume that what you ultimately want to do is become a singer, a songwriter, and use that as a platform to spring forward your story? Is that where you're kind of going with this? Is that your hope, your dream?
I look at that, or an actress actually, but I feel that my main passion and my main goal in life is to get the message out there about bullying and autism as well. I feel that not many people are actually talking out about autism either. That's something that I realised because when I was trying to reach acceptance of my autism, I looked online and trying to find inspirational young people that speak about autism and are doing great things, and there weren't many people speaking out. There was people with autism, but they never spoke about it, which is something that I feel is my goal in life, to speak about it, because I didn't see, when I was growing up, there was no one for me to turn to, so I want to be that for the young people.
Which is very selfless, and I've also have come to the realization that the negativity throughout the world, and how, I don't know if you agree with this or not, but how the media tends to glorify tragic events and tragic individuals who go around and are murdering and stuff. Why do you think bullying just now is becoming more talk about? Like, do you think Amanda Todd was an eye-opener?
I think that more people are actually speaking out about it, because back in the day, women had no rights, and so women that were getting bullied and beat up, they didn't speak about it. And because nowadays we have more rights, and it's a free country, it's a free world. In some countries, more people are speaking out, and I feel that the more people are speaking out about it, the more the media reacts to it, and the more the media is jumping on board with the stories. And I feel that sometimes the media do over-exaggerate certain stories. They're always talking about murders and stuff like that. It's murders happen more often than a lot of other things, and bullying is getting spoke about more, but it needs to be spoke about a lot more, if you get what I mean.
Oh, I get exactly what you mean. If you really go on Facebook and you search, the amount of anti-bullying pages is incredible. However, when I was in school, we didn't really have much social network. We had, I believe, MySpace was active. However, it was so uncommon that bullying was never really a word growing up. No one ever said, "Oh, David's being bullied," or "that person's being bullied." It was always they're getting picked on, they're getting teased, which I feel are very, what's the word? They're very non-serious words. If you get told, "Oh, they're just being picked on," they're being teased. It's a phase that people go through. It's welcomed. It's understandable. It's common. However, now with Matt Todd and other sad stories of individuals who are being bullied, it's now going to become very serious. Now, do you agree with that approach of being or reactive instead of being proactive?
I feel that it needs to be more proactive. Like, it just needs to be out there. People need to be talking about it all the time. And quite recently, I've been really happy with the media because there's been a lot of different coverage of bullying in this country. Now, as soon as my story came out, there was also another woman that wrote a post about it, like, that went wide. And the day after, there was a new research released that bullying that happens in childhood affects adulthood, when you're 40, 50 years old. And that was something that really I was excited that people were just so proactive in talking about it, and just there was so much media coverage, and just it was really big and exciting.
I'm very happy to hear that your story has led towards a more active approach, because I will share my story with my friend who committed suicide in 2004. I was very angry that the school knew that he was being bullied. I knew he was being bullied. The whole school knew. However, it was not taken seriously until it was too late. And I fear that that's what happened with Amanda Todd as well. There's also another incident we had that was very media aware, was another individual that after was sexually assaulted, and once her story broke, people started taking it more serious, and it kind of upsets you to a degree to understand that if they would have taken this bullying a lot seriously, a lot faster, that maybe they could have been prevented. And I will always feel that suicides are all preventable, and I feel that right now, this day and age, people are being neglected, they're being ignored, they're not being taken seriously. The depression is still looked at as a weakness when really it's an actual illness. I know when I got depressed, I couldn't figure out how to get out of it. My mind was so jumbled from my concussions that my thought process was very, very limited towards positivity. Now, speaking forward with you and I and other individuals who are speaking out, we're allowing individuals more resources to understand that depression is an illness, and we're here to take it seriously because we've been through it. We understand it, but unfortunately, I feel it's gonna be a little while before it gets taken as serious as we would like. Now, let's say you had the power in your hands to affect change in one way. What way do you think would be the most effective?
I don't think getting rid of bullying altogether would be effective because it's just never going to happen. But I feel that just giving people like the resources to know that there's people that are going to help you and will help you, and like not just sweep it under the rug and actually support you and deal with it, because that's what really needs to be happening. Because I saw online a few days ago this boy with autism that was getting bullied. He took a camcorder to school and filmed it, unknowing of everyone else, and the school got his camera, deleted the video of his proof, and then the boy got took to court for filming at school, which was illegal apparently, and the bullies didn't get told off for bullying him, and he filmed it in the first place just to prove that he was getting bullied, and it's just crazy.
Yeah, I know exactly what story you're talking about. He was charged for unlawful wiretapping, which when I read it, I was angry. I was devastated because the school board, the local authorities, the governments are always telling us to stand up for ourselves, protect ourselves, do whatever we have to do to make sure we're safe. So this young man did what he had to do, and for that he got disciplined, but the individuals who were bullying him got free. And the reason why I was disgusted with that was it just promotes, once again, that the suspects usually have a better chance than the victims to actually get justice served not against them, which is very non-reassuring to use. I'm like, okay, well, now I can't do anything. I also have an individual I know who was assaulted with a steel chair. He tried to defend himself, and he was threatened with being suspended for expressing violence. And I remember when I heard that story, I was extremely angry because our youth nowadays are being told to defend themselves until they are actually defending themselves. Was there ever any instance with your experiences where you defend yourself and you got in trouble, besides the whole knife situation?
When I got attacked once, I did kind of push her away, and that was like the only way I'd ever got involved and did something, but I don't think I ever really did, to be honest.
Really? Did you ever, throughout your experience, did you ever experience anyone else being bullied around you? And if so, did you ever stand up?
Yes, actually at my current school there was this boy that everyone knew he was different, and everyone bullied him and stuff like that, and everyone was mean to him. And at Christmas, I just wanted to be nice to him. Just for a change, someone to be nice. And so I gave him a Christmas card, and he got nothing else from anyone else. I just gave him a Christmas card because it's just the little things that count, and just giving him, a sense of, someone likes me. Not everyone hates me.
Wow, it's called a simple gesture, is what I call it. It's where you give something that's very small to the outside world. Between you and that person, it's something that's very big. The reason why I gave the name simple gesture is I always found that people who give money or whatever to help and then actually in return, it's always taken not so seriously. But like, for example, let's say you say, Dave, can I please borrow $20? And I say, sure, no problem. Here's the $20, but pay it back whenever you can. It's not. You won't take it as, oh, okay, that's a very helpful thing. It's a loan. Now, let's say you say, Dave, can I borrow $20? I say, you know what? Here's $20. Do with it what you will. Don't pay it back. Just, let's focus on the fact that I care about you and I want to help. If you do that approach, I find it's a lot more effective. There's no loan to it. There's no debt. And that's what we need nowadays, is to get forward. Offer the person behind you to buy their coffee. Anything small, because if you look at the media, it's always attacking the negative. It's always showcasing the negative. It's never really showcasing the positive. YouTube is where I find people who release their positive videos. So videos take themselves getting close to the hole and so forth. So I kind of wish people who did what you did would actually videotape more often and release it. We need more positive reviews, if you will. And your story, I think, greatly achieved that. When people read your story, I know when I read your story, I was like, yes, finally, I can read something positive on Facebook as opposed to something negative. And with that being said, do you have a website or any other, I guess you can say, feature or place people can contact you on?
I do have a website, which is the official RebeccaParkin.webs.com, but I also have 2 Facebook accounts as well. I own my own, it's kind of like a cause type thing called Reading Our Own Thoughts, which basically gives people the chance to, basically air their own opinions and talk about things that matter, like bullying, depression, and just things that really do matter and need to be spoken about. And I just have my Facebook account as well, which is just the real Rebecca Parkin too. So
I'm aware of both the Facebook pages. I was confused. I added the first one, which was the musician band page, and I thought that was you, which it was. I was messaging you, but then I added you as a friend with your personal account, which confirmed to me, okay, I know who this is now. So, do you prefer people to add you on your page or your personal page?
Well, on my personal page, I do accept like anyone that adds me that has you know the drive to create positive things. If you're going to be negative, I don't want negative people on my Facebook. So, I do accept nearly everyone because, it's basically positive people that I connect with. But, there's going to be some mean people that I have to delete or block or not add. But, contact me through my Facebook page first and we can chat on there and then possibly can add you on Facebook.
So, as of today, have you received any like negative or hate messages in the last week or last month?
No.
Wow,
Uh-huh.
look at that. Eh? That's awesome. I'm happy to see that you were once a victim on cyberbullying, but now an advocate to fight it because you're not receiving negativity, you're not receiving anything that brings you down, but you made the decision to follow the rule of association. And what I mean by that is what you associate with truly affects your lifestyle. I used to be hanging around people who were very negative and depressed, and then I started realizing, okay, wow, I'm going to start hanging around people who are successful, positive, and immediately it was a great drastic change. And I'm not going to lie here. I'm going to be brutally honest. I stalk your Facebook page quite often a lot just to see who I can communicate with and who I can build a bond with. And I've noticed that I've already made friends with 4 of your friends on Facebook, and together we're planning some Bodyguards events, and hopefully we can sponsor you as well and get you out here in North America to share your story and speak. And it's thinking about that now, actually. When you first started talking, I was like, oh, this poor girl, so she's so shy and so isolated. How is she gonna become a speaker? But when I started researching you and watching and reading your Facebook statuses and watching some interviews, and I realized, you know what? No. This girl had something that was hidden, very hidden, and now it's actually exposed. She's actually always had a voice. She's actually always had a smile. And she's actually always had the positive. But the world around her made her feel as if she had none of that. But look at you now, right? Look at you now. Now you're like, you haven't not smiled once. This whole interview you've been smiling. You're happy. You're sharing your story. You're confident. And that right there is what made me most intrigued to speak with you, is your confidence. Because I always feel confidence shows everything that you need to be successful. It shows happiness. It shows self-acceptance. It shows self-awareness. So when I say you're confident, what I'm really saying is you're on the right path. And that's why I was so intrigued to meet with you and to break the barrier of joking around with you and having fun conversations, and then all of a sudden, boom, being serious. And then I heard you typing. I heard you like getting excited and getting ready. And I was like, this girl, she has the passion. Rebecca Parkin is going to be a future. She's going to be a generation trendsetter. She's going to be someone who reminds you that they have a voice. With that being said, on behalf of myself and Bodyguards, we're very, very happy. We're very supportive of you. We'll always do whatever we can to help expose your story and share it. And, like I made you a promise. I think it was 4 days ago that I will make you a celebrity here in North America. And it's gonna happen. I'm gonna lead you to the door, but I know for a fact you're gonna kick that door down. You're gonna own it, and you're gonna move forward with it. So I just wanted to say on behalf of Bodyguards United and myself, thank you very much for taking this hour of your busy life, which I know is busy because you haven't slept yet. You packed for 3 days straight, ready to go. Poland, and I just wanted to say thank you for all your work. You've inspired me, and I'm 28 years old, which shows that no matter what age you are, you can inspire. No matter what age you want to set strides as a fire. You've done it, and one day I will either be in Poland to speak beside you, or in the UK. No matter what, Bodyguards United will always support you. I will share your statuses, I will share your news, I will share your upcoming event. I will do whatever I can to help you get exposed here in North America, because you need to be exposed, you need to be heard, and that's all because of you. And I want you to understand that. When I say I'm proud of you, I mean it. Like, I look at you, and I wish I had the courage and the confidence that you are currently exposing and sharing with the world. That's my little message for you, my little hoorah. And I just wanted to say thank you so much. And if you have any further comments or questions that you want to share before we finish this up?
Thank you.
That's it. I gave you like a 4-minute like wrong there, and I get no problem. it's okay.
It's like, though, thanks, because like this interview has been so fun. You're just an amazing person, and your story is inspirational too, and your story is going to help loads of people as well. So you need to get your exposure as well. You need to make yourself big. What we can make, you can come to the UK. We'll just blow you up over here. You know, I'll go to Canada. You come over to UK.
We'll meet halfway is what we'll do. We'll meet halfway and then we'll fly back and forth. How's that sound? Sounds good?
Yeah.
Now, is there anything you wish for me to help promote for you right now? This is your chance to say upcoming events, Facebook events, news, anything upcoming besides Poland. I think we spoke enough on Poland. I can tell that you and your friends are nervous. Don't forget your phone charger, and don't forget your passport. That's a message to you and your friends.
Yeah, I'm not gonna forget my phone charger. I had this awful dream the other day. I forgot my phone charger. I woke up like I need to put my phone charger in my bag.
Well, you've been packing for 3 days. Like you said, you were packed 3 days ago, which is weird to me because I'm a last-minute packer. So.
I'm not prepared, but this trip I'm just gonna get everything sorted, so don't worry, don't stress, and don't freak out.
Well, it seems like you're on the right track. It seems like your friends are a lot more stressed about this trip than you are. Now, do you have any upcoming interviews via radio or internet or newspaper?
I currently don't have any more upcoming events, but I do actually have an article to write about bullying for Young Minds, which is a charity I work with as a media ambassador, and they have this new campaign. So yeah, I'm writing for them, and I'm also going to start writing a few more articles for other magazines and just send them in, and see who's interested.
So is there any websites you want to share that people can look at for resources and better understand what you do?
Well, my website is the best place to go. I've just updated that, so like everything's on there. And
all right, well, thank you so much, Rebecca, and we will definitely stay in contact because I have you as a friend on both of your accounts, plus your Twitter, plus your YouTube. So basically, I'm all around, and I'm always available to talk to you. So thank you so much for this interview. We'll do a part 2 in like maybe a month to see how things are going still. All right, so thank you very much. Have a safe trip. Don't forget your charger, and don't forget your passport.
Thank you. Bye.